Members, questions? We have questions. Representative Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you again for the presentation. Got really active over the summer on finding out more about the great services that APD provides to vulnerable Floridians. So I have a question about also about the wait list. So the number of new persons with disabilities that was added to the wait list since last year now appears to have exceeded the number that has been removed and enrolled in services since last year. So it looks like that 22,000 person I-budget waiver wait list is getting longer instead of shorter. My question is about slide 10. The governor recommends spending $25.5 million to reduce the wait list by 480 individuals. Last year, thanks to the leadership of this committee and Chair Avila, we invested $95.7 million to reduce the wait list by about 2,000 Floridians with disabilities. So why is the governor recommending that we spend less to reduce the wait list, which leaves 22,000 Floridians with disabilities without the freedom to live and work in their communities with the support that they need?
Ma'am, you're recognized.
Okay, thank you for that question. The $25.5 million is in addition to the $95.7 that was generously provided this past session. So we have that as a recurring amount to cover approximately, like you said, we're enrolling approximately 2,000 people. Currently we have enrolled 884 people from the waiting list, and we're on track to enroll approximately the 1,900 to 2,000 by the end of this fiscal year. The $25.5 million is in addition to that $95 million. We enroll approximately 1,000 to 1,200 people each year in crisis. We anticipate that many of the people that would enroll in crisis will be covered under the $95 million that we're enrolling people now. But there are always people coming in that are currently not on our waiting list. We have approximately, like you said, 22,700 people on our waiting list. We have about 35,000 on our waiver. But the prevalence of developmental disabilities in Florida estimates there's over 320,000 people with a developmental disability in Florida. So we're only looking at about 20%, accounting for about 20% of the total DD population in Florida. So there are always people who maybe have never needed a service from APD that could have a crisis situation and need to be enrolled.
Follow up, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the answer. I understand that the $25.5 million, because we're in a new session, is technically new spending. You said that it was in addition to the $95.7 million we invested last year. Just to be clear, of course, once the legislature sets aside new funding every year, as we do, to enroll Floridians with disabilities into the services that they need, that we have to fund that every year afterwards. Yes. So I understand what you mean, but I just want to make clear still the investment that the governor is proposing of $25.5 million to reduce the wait list by 480 people is less spending than we did last year. So my question is, how can we make progress when more people are being added to the wait list than the governor wants to fund to remove and enroll in services to meet their needs? Seems like we're taking a step forward and 2 steps backwards.
You're recognized.
Thank you. That's a very good question. The governor, as I said, we recommended the $25.5 million, which would at least keep us current in our anticipated growth yearly. As I had mentioned, the prevalence of DD is much greater than the number of people on the waiting list or the waiver. So at any given time, we can have people, there's approximately, like I said, over 320,000 people potentially with a DD diagnosis in Florida. So we'd have to look at, different avenues if we wanted to make progress in completely eliminating that waiting list.
You recognize Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for your indulgence. Yeah, there's, and you make a valid point, which is that there's many Floridians with developmental disabilities, many who are actually not on the wait list or enrolled in services. So I suppose my question is just over time, is it the ultimate goal of Governor DeSantis's to reduce the wait list enough to eliminate it and get the number of Floridians with disabilities waiting for care down to zero, which is actually what happened under the leadership of Governor Jeb Bush?
Ma'am, you're recognized.
Thank you. We certainly would be glad to discuss that with you. That is certainly would be a goal of the agency, and I'm sure the governor, of course, with limited funding and priorities would impact our ability to do that.
Further questions, members? Further questions? Are there further questions? Okay,